Hey everybody, it's me Jake again, and today we're going to be oh wait, no we're not. Alright, so you're probably wondering why the T-top seals are all put on and the T-tops are on with the new drip rails and all painted and everything like that. There's a good reason for that. I was filming it and I didn't really like how the angles turned out and everything, and then my dad started helping me and it would just been kind of weird because I don't know if he wants to be filmed or not. I guess I could have asked him, but I just figured it would be best if we just busted ass and got it done. It took us about 4.5 hours. I have to say that I'm pretty happy with it. There is like one spot over here on the driver's side, the actual T-top panel seal. It kind of bunches up whenever you shut the door or put the T-tops on. I'm not really sure. I think I can just kind of maybe peel that back out and just kind of move it down. Either move it down or move it, if it's flipped over, I think I have to move it to the left. Yeah, move it to the left to get it to sit just so. But it does seal really nice. It doesn't look like I'll have any issues with it. We'll see. I don't know for sure. Hopefully not. We won't have any issues, but I won't know until it rains. I'm not going to leak test it because I got, bare wires and stuff in there that just, it's not, I plan on having a car cover over it anyways, whenever I'm not driving it. I'd like to drive it every day, but I don't want it to leak and get the floor pans all crusty again, because that's going to suck if I have to do all this again. But hopefully, if I do it the first time, the second time won't be so bad. I don't know. But anyways, that's why that's already done. Sorry about that. I have a little bit of footage if you guys want to see it. It's not a lot. I stopped recording like halfway through it because it wasn't, I either couldn't get the camera pointed at the right angle, or I couldn't get I couldn't get what I wanted. But today I want to be taking those gauges back out and do what I should have done in the first place, which is clean up all the pins to the actual gauges and try and clean up the gauges themselves a little bit, and maybe those little tabs as well, those little clip tab things that make contact to put power through the gauges. I'm going to check them and see if they're bent in any way, because once I replaced the circuit board, the coolant gauge started working, but I don't know if that was because I cleaned it or if I changed the circuit board out. The circuit board didn't look good. I still have it somewhere here. That's not important. But anyways, I was going to pull that back out and see if I can clean up the pins with one of these little green pads right here. I was going to soak them in vinegar, but I don't know. I read that vinegar and iron, like cast iron or metal that's not stainless steel, pretty much, it reacts. So it would probably end up being worse and make things worse and then ruin my gauges, and then I'd be stuck. But I'm going to clean this up and see if it works. I'm probably going to have to go get gas too, but I'm not going to do that until I get it all put back in there. And if it doesn't work, I can get a brand new, refurbished gauge cluster complete. Like everything that I need, works 100%, brand new, it looks brand new. But it's $500. I don't want to pay $500 for a, gauge cluster. And I have the electronic dash over here. But the thing with that is I don't want to put it in here and it still not work, and then I'm going to have to backtrack and trace everything down. I'd rather make sure everything works before I put that in there, if I'm going to put it in there. If I can get the stock gauges to work, I might just leave the stock gauges in there. I mean, they're not bad. They're legit gauges. They're not just the warning lights, so I don't know. But anyways, with all that being said, I'm going to get started. I'm going to see if I can set up the camera like maybe inside the car. That'd be kind of neat. Or on the other side with the door open. And we'll see what we can get accomplished today.
Take what you want from me. I'll give you everything. All that and more you'll see. Just stay right here with me. Love is not
Alright, I got it all tore down again. And as you saw, the speedometer does work with the cable spinning. So my thought is the cable's bad, speedometer cable. It actually goes into here, right? And then it goes through a little bit of a buffer box is what they call it. And it goes through here, the circuit board through here, on that side through that connector, and it goes through the pins. So I'm assuming that goes to the ECM or something. Why it needs to go to the ECM, who knows, but I do know that if you put the digital dash in, it'll throw a check engine light. So not really sure about that one, but alright, so that should be good with a new speedometer cable or a new buffer box. I can get a new one of those for about 60 bucks. With either of those, it should be good. Speedometer cable is like 20 bucks, so that's not too bad. I'll need to figure it out. I'm sure the cable's messed up because the transmission was replaced before, and if it's bent or cockeyed, or if it's too much of a aggressive like angle or something, it won't allow it to spin right, or it won't allow it to spin at all. It'll pinch it. So I don't know. It's possible that the speedometer gear or something on the transmission's probably messed up because of that, because I think they're plastic if I'm not mistaken. Anyways, that's not what this is about. I think I can get that working pretty easily, which is nice to know how fast you're going. So if you get pulled over, you can actually, you know, yes, officer, I was speeding. These don't look too bad. Like I said, I did clean them up before. I did notice that they were a little bent, but I don't know if that's going to matter because of the ends actually touch the contact surface. You see those little curls right there? They actually contact it anyways, so I don't think that that's a problem. And these don't look as bad as I thought they would. They don't look fantastic, but do I think that's why they're not making a connection? No. It's possible that this board could be bad, or these gauges could be bad, or the sender could be bad. Like I said, the oil pressure gauge does wiggle, the tach doesn't do anything, but from what I understand, the tach gets its reading from the coil. So that could be a wire issue, and if we have one wire issue, we probably have multiple wire issues. The battery gauge works, gas gauge works, and the coolant temperature I think works. I'm pretty sure that it does. It did kind of creep up a little bit when I had it running for a little while. So I think the coolant temp actually works. It started working after I changed the circuit board. This is the new aftermarket circuit board, and I know I'm missing a couple of the little light thingies. I can get those no problem. I actually need to put them in the right spots too. I have no idea where they're actually supposed to go. That's no big deal. I plan on replacing all of them with LEDs anyways. Why it's not working, I'm not sure. We're probably just going to have to test the gauges somehow. I don't really know how to test the gauges. I'll probably at least put the cluster back together before I leave. That way I don't lose all these pins and screws and everything. And I don't know that they're actually my problem in the first place. So I'm going to end up putting those back in because I can't find those things anywhere. Sorry about that. Trees scraping and stuff. If you hear any buzzing, that's wood bees outside. Down here they're pretty bad, and I don't know what they do with the wood, or if they eat it, or I have no idea. But anyways, so speedometer we should be able to fix with a speedometer cable. Not a big deal. Which I figured as much anyways, or it's just pinched somewhere or can't move. As for these, I don't know why these would work and the tach and oil pressure wouldn't unless the whole gauge is messed, because neither of them work. When you start the car, it pegs all the way to 7,000. I might just need a new gauge, because if the sender, I'd think if the senders weren't working, then it would just not work at all. But what do I know? I work on newer stuff, not this older stuff. I do like older stuff though. So I don't know, I will try and do some researching on how I can test that real fast and see what, I'll put those back in there too. I'll probably put the speedometer back in because honestly, I really do think it's just a cable. So, but that will get I don't know. We'll figure out. That's pretty much the only thing that's not working, I'm pretty sure. Because the gas gauge does work. I put a little bit of gas in it and it went up. So that should be working. The alternator gauge is working. I will check on some ways to test these gauges, and I will get back to y'all in a second. Alright. I did some searching around. I didn't find a way to test the gauges, per se. I am going to leave it out of the... It's kind of a pain in the ass to wiggle out of its spot. There's not really a reason to put it back in. It's not like it's going to be driving on the road anytime soon until I get the floor pans fixed. So, with all that being said, I didn't find a way to test the gauges, but I did find somebody on the 3rd Gen forums that is having the same, like pretty much the exact same problems that I'm having. It pegs out at 7,000. Oil pressure just kind of like kind of wiggles, kind of works, whatever. They said it might be a bad ground, or in his case, his connector that connected the plug for the gauges that the little fingers on the circuit board kind of press into and make contact with. That plug to the distributor was unplugged, and he didn't know. Now my dad looked at it, but you know, it could, you know, with all the wiring stuff. Sorry, there's birds in here building nests and shit. As long as I don't make nests in my car, I'll be all right. Now they can't get in it because the top's on it. Anyways, back to the point. He was looking at it, but you know, with all the wiring stuff that's been done to this car, it could be just unplugged and kind of underneath there somewhere or something. I don't know. Now I tried to move the cable, the little square deal in the middle of the cable. If you've ever seen one, you'll know what I'm talking about. I tried to move it and it didn't move, but I don't know if that's because, you know, the gear is attached to the transmission that's attached to the cable, and it won't move because that's not moving. I don't know. The only real way to figure that out would be to take the cable out. You got to jack up the car, and with my floor pans being shit, and it being so low, it is raised up since I aired the tires up. That raised it up like a good 2 or 3 inches, which is really nice because now I'll probably be able to actually jack it up if I need to. But I didn't really want to do that today. But anyways, I'm pretty sure I got it narrowed down, the speedometer narrowed down to the cable or the speedometer drive gear, which, I mean, that could be broken, I guess, right? I could start it up and maybe drive it around my yard or something and just check and see if the little deal moves, because it has to move pretty good to get it even at 5 miles an hour. So, you know, could just see if it moves, then it can't move because the gauge work. I don't know. Anyways, it's not important. Narrowed that down. Pretty sure I got the tack in the tack narrowed down to a wire issue. The oil pressure gauge goes from a sending unit or oil pressure switch or whatever the fuck you want to call it. So it's possible that could be bad, or it could have a broken wire or bad ground. Pretty sure I got it narrowed down to a wiring problem, because the guy said that in the thread on the forum that he had his oil pressure gauge did the same thing, and his blinkers acted screwy. And when he did the blinkers, it would actually make the tack fluctuate, which I thought was kind of weird, but I don't know. I will figure it out. I'm going to leave it out for right now. I got to get some things for it anyways. I need to get another screw set because it is missing a few screws, and honestly it bothers. I don't know why missing screws bothers me so much. It bothers me even more when people put the wrong ones in there. Like, just leave it out. Whoever gets it will take care of it if they want to take care of it. Don't just cram other screws in there, you know. And I got to get more of the little screw deals for the light bulbs to go in. But other than that, I think that's pretty much it. I can get another clip for the speedometer, but speedometer cable, which I might end up doing if I have to get a cable. They're not too expensive, and it's pretty rusty, crusty looking. But anyways, I've rambled long enough. I'll let y'all go.